And welcome to part 2 of this special episode of Shrouded Realities podcast. We recorded this one previously.
We did.
And it went a little long.
All in one episode.
Yep, went a little long like we thought it would. We kind of hoped it would.
Yeah.
So we split this up into a 2-part episode.
I'm going to dig a little deeper into this population control.
Into the population control. Did you learn anything during that conversation?
Not that I already knew, but we're going downhill, fellas.
That's right. It's not going well.
Not looking well. So stay tuned in. We're going to dig a little deeper into the population control conversation with our guest, Marty. And we'll get to rolling. Even if it was part of your plan to have a baby, you would go, all right, got to go to college. All right, maybe you find love in college. You get out of college, guess what? You're in crippling neck-deep debt. That you can't get out of, so you got to work a lot. Use your degree that you in underwater basket weaving or whatever you did and make a lot of money. So you
spend 10 years.
Yeah, so you got to work a lot of money. I mean, you got to work to make a lot of money and pay off the debt. Then you got to get yourself where you feel comfortable to have a baby that you can financially support it. And then guess what? By then you're 30, 33. You're on up there. There's a 50-50 chance now with the way sperm counts are and female fertility is that you're not going to be able to have a baby.
Yeah.
So even
and if you are, it's going to be one.
Yeah.
Because at that point you're pushing it.
Yeah.
Which is not what it used to be historically.
Yeah.
You'd have a little bit of time left, but I mean people were having kids early before this.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 16, 17, 18.
Yeah. I'm not going to say that I'm good with 16-year-olds doing it.
I mean, that's my great-grandma was like that. She married a 20-year-old.
I'm a product of a 16-year-old.
Today. I'm talking about maturity levels probably are not where they were.
Yeah, back in the day, you had to survive.
You got TikTok brain at 16 right now.
Yeah.
I've got TikTok brain and I'm 30. About to be 33. So,
and you don't see that as much anymore. I remember when I was going through school, 25 years ago, teenage pregnancy was an issue. Like there was campaigns.
It's still there. It still exists.
And what about it is an issue?
I feel like it's as bad.
What about it is an issue? What are they saying the issue is? That their life's ruined?
Yeah.
Is that what they're saying?
Yeah.
Well, they give you an alternative now.
Yeah, that is true.
But if you're abstaining from meat, though, and going more on a plant-based diet, again, what is promoting that or who is promoting that? Well, I mean, we need as many people eating meat because, well, look what that does to the climate. You got to cut down rainforest to have more pasture land for cattle and livestock to graze. And then, the byproduct of when the cows eat, well, that releases methane into the air. So, hey, for the good of the planet, you need to switch from a carnivore type diet more to a plant-based diet, which then in turn emasculates men, and there you go.
I'm really surprised at how much I get to bring up the Seventh-day Adventist in this conversation, like with everything.
We haven't done a episode just on them.
We haven't.
I think it's coming up. Podcast Cultish.
Yeah,
they're a real good podcast. Their premise is to talk about cults to try to keep people from getting into false theology.
Yeah,
like you mentioned, and pointing out stuff. Well, they just did a multi-part series on the Seventh-day Adventists, and that's it. And I think it's like 7 parts. I think they did a deep
Is that a 7 part? Okay, never mind.
That may be why they did that. Yeah,
number of completion.
Yeah,
but it's they've got. I want to listen to that whole series. Right, I think they just released episode 3 or 4, so I want to go. I want to listen to all of that before we do a show, and I think that's coming though.
But I mean, this has kind of been their whole premise, and I didn't realize what an aha moment it was when I found this on the Seventh-day Adventist when we were doing the food episode. Which, if you haven't listened to, everybody needs. I mean that. Playing into
3 of them, don't we?
Yeah, go to the food pyramid. I think that's really where I nailed into the Seventh-day Adventist. Episode 4, so way back.
Shoot,
yeah, serious?
Early days. We didn't even have video. We may need to do another food pyramid episode just to really get into some of that. But
yeah,
speaking of the plants and things like that, what they're not discussing is the effect on climate that a vegetarian diet actually has, because you've got to have more tractors to go get the vegetables, which is going to use diesel energy to move it, which is, I mean, then you're tearing your land up even more.
Yeah.
Because you're just robbing it of every bit of nutrients that is there. And then you're going to have to go get more land to then have more crops, to let this land rest, to then have this crop. So they're not discussing the other side of that climate effect that there is. So why? Why does that not exist?
Well, that is really the big question, isn't it?
That's the what do you call it? Golly, I'm blanking on a word.
I don't know what you're going with there. I would help, but
Where you say one thing, but you do another.
Hypocritical?
There it is.
Yeah.
Hypocritical. I knew you started with an H, but
like
all
you're
of this
going to
climate-
a climate summit on a jet airplane, maybe.
Yeah,
or,
a little hypocritical like that. But
Yeah.
they do the same thing with electric vehicles. They
Yeah.
don't give you they say, well, look, we're not using fuel, but they don't tell you that electric vehicles, what gives you electricity? Something does, and it's going to be dirty. And you have to have dirty energy to make this clean energy exist.
And that, I know you're implicating, or you may not be, but implicating the coal and the burning of the oil to make electricity. But then you got the mining of lithium.
Yeah, I'm bare surface level.
Guess what they're
with that.
not using on that mine pit?
Yeah.
Electric anything.
No, not at all.
But if we don't have the population, who's going to mine the lithium?
All I'm doing with that conversation, I know we're a little off of that, but is laying down the blanket of hypocrisy that is in this topic all the way around.
Yeah, it's pretty deep, and it kind of shows that like they're not going to come out and say we're going to control your population. We're gonna keep a certain race of people from breeding via whatever.
Yeah.
They're not going to come out and say it. They're just going to they're going to throw in abortion. They're going to throw
We
in.
haven't even touched on that.
Nope. They're going to throw in plastics. They're going to throw in chemicals in your Cheerios.
They're going to give you pharmaceuticals to then combat all of the things that is affecting you from plastics and 11 freaking servings of carbs you eat every day and you can't walk through the door because you're so fat.
Yeah. So they're not going to come out and say we're going to lower your population. They're just going to throw in little nuggets.
They'll never tell you exactly what the goal is. But again, I mentioned that population engineering earlier. There was a paper done on that, and one thing they suggested because we need to not have as many people again because of the climate, but one way they suggested that is the more wealth you have, if you have more than 2 children, then you're going to be taxed much more heavily, but that's okay because you can take that extra money and put it in to mitigate climate change. You put it in a climate fund to be managed. Okay. And I'm sure, we're hearing right now how well our tax dollars are managed on a regular basis.
Hashtag Doge.
I mean, Elon Musk is bringing that up, which has done his part to help on the depopulation, though.
Yes.
We'll say that.
Oh,
He
is.
is.
Named them some weird names, but hey, at least they're out there.
At least they exist.
Yeah. So always follow the money.
Oh, yeah.
If nothing else, follow the money in everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Somebody's getting wealthy.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder how much of this is kind of I just lost my train of thought. I wonder how much of this is an inconvenience situation. You know what I mean? Like, think about you being snooty tooty, hoity toity. You go out and some lowlife gets in your way, and you're just like, I wish there was just less of these type of people.
They get so pissed off, like, I wish your entire race of people was
I
gone.
wish your entire race was gone now.
Because we've all
You
had
cut me off in traffic.
Because we've all had
Race war.
Yeah. I'm making a phone call.
So we've all had that thought. Go to the grocery store and just piles of people all over the place in your way, and you're like, "Dang, man! I just wish there was like less people,
Dealt
less
with that.
traffic." You know
dealt
what I
with
mean?
that this morning, matter of fact, of just everybody freaking out. We've got a big storm coming today. Everybody's at the grocery store
Getting that bread.
going nuts.
Yeah.
Getting that bread. Everybody is.
Yeah.
And it was it was hectic this morning. There
Yeah.
was a lot of people around. I didn't think, man, I wish I could eliminate all these people. I didn't think I should kill everybody.
Okay, so this at you though. Say you don't have a good Christian foundation,
Mm-hmm.
and then guess what? I'm giving you all the money in the world. Now you're the richest person in the world
Right.
with zero Christian foundation, zero empathy for the common man.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna be like, man, there's got to be some stuff I got to do to change this to make my life better.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Well, you remove God from the equation.
Mm-hmm.
The logical thought process would be, well, there are too many of us.
Mm-hmm.
And what are we going to do? There's not enough land. There's not enough space. Some oil tanker just, capsized, and there's oil slick everywhere.
Mhm.
I mean, we're going to destroy ourselves. I mean, I can see where a person would go
Mm-hmm.
in that direction
Sure.
if God is not a part of your thought process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's why I thought this research and this conversation's fun to me, because I know my biblical foundation is this is all part of God's plan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to worry about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I have zero control of it. I can think that maybe somebody might have some control over it, but
Somebody wants control over it,
Yep.
though.
there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one good thing is about having a platform like this, we can actually sit and have this conversation and flesh this out a little bit
Mm-hmm.
of this is the lie that has been told to you, and this is the truth of what is the reality here.
Yeah.
We're told that there's too many people and there's going to be too many people.
Mm-hmm.
And then they try to deceive you with words like family planning, or what was Jane Goodall's?
Voluntary population
Yeah.
optimization.
Exactly. I can't even remember it.
The messenger
So-
of peace.
What should be done about population?
We've introduced in our program, family planning, so welcomed by the people because they know that things are different. And of course, this administration is cutting family planning around the developing world, which is terrifying to me. And so if you approach family planning right, it's something that's very, very important. And when it was considered politically incorrect to mention it, and I was determined to mention it, I decided to call it voluntary population optimization. So by the time people worked it out.
And research shows educating girls is one of the
Yeah,
smartest
I
things.
meant to say that, yes, indeed. Women's education, empowering women, and scholarships to keep girls in school beyond puberty. Family size then tends to drop worldwide, indeed.
Yeah, the messenger of peace brought that to us. But, I mean, they try to deceive you with that, and we get to have this conversation and go, no, this is bullcrap.
Yeah.
We don't fall for this stuff. And maybe we can influence somebody that's maybe on the fence of having kids or something like that.
Yeah, my kids are listening to this show.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is important for them.
They need a sibling.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's impossible now.
Just
but,
don't eat Cheerios.
thanks
for
to
him.
the Honey Nut Cheerios, that's impossible now.
I just hope when judgment comes, all the players in the game get judged righteously.
And they will.
They will.
They will.
Yeah.
That's kind of the
Yeah.
that's kind of the big thing at the end there.
Yeah.
But Thomas Mathis pretty much proved that this concept is a lie. You
Mhm.
know, it's deceit, because he had this thought in the 18th century.
Mhm.
We're still trucking along.
Yeah.
We got
Mhm.
more food now than ever.
Is it
with
fake?
the highest
Probably.
population. It is fake, and it is gross, and it is.
But
produced
you know
in a
what?
factory, but
We're destined to only live so long.
Yeah, that's right.
We can only control what we can control,
Mhm.
and if we can live in God's word and we're eating crap, I mean,
Yeah.
it is what it is at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Go ahead.
To me, the problem is when you try to control it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like when people are actively promoting abortion to get certain classifications of people out of the world. I know everybody don't want to hear that, but statistically it's a fact.
Well, statistically, it's a fact, and the locations prove that.
Yeah.
The locations of a Planned Parenthood
Yeah.
will prove that very, very strongly.
I know
People will be.
I know
very
what you're
mad.
talking about, but
People will be very mad at that statement. They are normally put in urban areas.
And it was normally by a high percentage.
Yes, they are in a urban area
in certain neighborhoods.
And they're not in other neighborhoods. We'll just say it that way. They're not in the suburbs of that area.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that the nicest way possible, and I think people are going to pick up what I'm laying down there.
You did a good job.
But
if you don't believe us, just go look it up.
Go look it up.
It's
I'm not saying that to be in agreement for sure.
No.
I think it's horrible.
I'm 100% against it.
I'm 100% against abortion, period.
Yeah.
In any form other than life of the mother. I mean, if it's going to kill the mother, yeah, okay. We gotta have a conversation. But as far as
lifestyle change,
no, not like, well, is it going to make my
I'm
life?
going to go to college and this
baby. Yeah. This makes my life harder. Shut up. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm living proof of that. My parents had me when they conceived me at 16, had me at 17.
Yeah.
And in today's society, and they may have even ran into it back then, but they would have been encouraged to eliminate my life.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
And it's like
if
how
they
much
went to the wrong doctor, that would have happened.
And how much the quality of their life, how much did it change, you know?
It did. It was significant.
It was significant.
It was significant. My mom was super smart, and my dad had to jump into a career that he may or may not have picked.
But was it so bad to where like they couldn't come back from it?
No, I'm here. Like, my mom ended up becoming a business owner. My dad ended up actually retired early because he was able to do so well. So
but I think that goes into the conversation.
The beginning part was tough. Yes,
yeah,
sure.
But the selfishness of today, though, is even in. It worked out great for your family, and that story that's really important. I think for people to hear is look. The short term's gonna suck, but I don't care if you're fully prepared for it. You're not.
Still gonna be. Still gonna be difficult. Yeah. You had your first child at what age?
Late 32.
Yeah,
yeah,
and it's still difficult.
I was about to say. I mean, it's still taking some doings. I mean, we're still figuring everything out. But I wouldn't change it for anything.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Absolutely.
And what we don't want to have come across is that we're saying that, hey, we've got to correct this. So every listener needs to be
go get Mr. busy right now.
Yeah, Mr. and Miss Duggar, have that kind of mindset.
I wish I had a certain type of music right here.
Get your Marvin Gaye out.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's get it.
I caught that reference. Yeah. It wasn't that song, but that fits too. There's another one. But it does come back to, I believe, if it's purely for selfish reasons, hey, I'm not going to have a kid because I can't travel as much, or I can't, hit the golf course every week because I've got this kid tagging along. That's a problem.
Yeah, which is such a lie. It's like, so you have no hobbies anymore.
Right. Right. I mean,
but that's what's pushed though.
Yeah.
Is your life is going to be more difficult. You're not going to be able to attain wealth in the same way. That's the lie that's pushed.
And maybe that's the excuse. They use climate change as an excuse, but really that might be, I don't know, but that might be the real reason behind it. But it sounds better to say, well, I'm not going to because of what this might do to the planet.
Yeah,
there was a whole movement that thankfully is disbanded, but just a few years ago called Birth Strike. Yeah, and the whole premise was don't have a kid because of the negative effects that it's going to have on the planet.
Well, there was a recent one that just happened too. When Trump was elected into office, a bunch of, and you know what? Yeah. In that argument,
maybe some people really.
In that argument, I'm actually going like, okay,
the planet really is better off.
Maybe the planet is better off without some.
You're on 7 different medications. I think we're good.
Yeah. You probably couldn't anyway.
Yeah,
you had Cheerios this morning. You're probably out.
So let's. So I'm gonna take this in a different direction.
Probably need to.
Well, it's probably grosser.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, getting us ready for it.
One of the reasons for birth rates to be dropping, technology and where it's going.
All right, you're going that gross.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it is gross.
Yeah,
Some lady bots.
Yep, yep.
It's a thing.
Yeah, and we ain't even really got there yet to
No.
where that has an effect on
And it's
society.
already a problem.
But there
It
is
will.
we have gotten into my cell phone, like how accessible.
I sent y'all a video the other day of this place. They were showing AI robots off. This was a while back. This was yeah. So it's literally a woman
Oh yeah,
with
yeah,
AI,
Yeah.
and this woman will not argue with you.
Yeah.
She will not give you any
Cook you
any
a perfect
trouble at all.
casserole every
She'll
time.
she'll cook whatever you want every night.
She make a sandwich without getting mad if
You
I
can-
say,
you
"Woman,
can-
go make me a
You
sandwich."
can
Exactly.
play,
She
you
would
can
say
play
yes
Call
to
of
you.
Duty as long as you want.
Yeah, and if she ever does talk back, you flip a switch.
Yep.
But you know,
You make it a setting where you slapping it and it goes away.
Exactly. Domestic violence
Yeah.
down
Yeah.
automatically.
Down.
But
Robots aren't humans.
Japan actually has more accessibility to this than we do.
Yeah,
That's a thing that they do there.
And that might be their
That might explain
Downturn.
A lot. Yeah.
that's what I was about to say. Is that a causal factor of their populational decline?
Yeah. So those things exist there.
Yeah,
yeah.
And
It's like hypersexuality, but in the other way.
yeah,
Yeah.
And if you don't think that that's not going to play an effect on
it's got it for
how
marriage.
you're going to have a baby,
It's got it for marriage right now where at least I would say young men are looking at it and going, why would I want to deal with somebody else
yeah,
when I can handle this myself?
yeah,
If that makes sense.
without getting gross.
Yeah,
Thank you.
without taking it there.
Yeah,
My dad's right there. I can't go too gross.
can't get too gross. Yeah,
I can hear the disappointment.
No, I'm just bringing up.
Hey,
Yeah.
he's got a wife and kids. He's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm good.
But there's kids that are growing up in this world, and this is a conversation I hope we can have next week a little bit.
Yeah.
That, like you said, it's just so much easier. So I think back to when I was going to school. You dress nice to go to school because you just want to impress the ladies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you got your Abercrombie shirt, your American Eagle shirt.
You sprayed some Axe on.
Get some
Yeah.
X on.
Just
yeah.
lather it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you went to school for you went for an education, but you went for another purpose. It was to find a mate.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
That's not the case anymore.
At 16 years old, that's all you thought about.
Yeah,
What
That-
are you talking about?
but that's not the case anymore
It's not.
at all.
Uh-huh.
Kids go to school in their pajamas because they just don't give a rip.
Yeah.
And I've seen it,
Mhm.
and it's weird.
I don't understand it. I
don't-
don't understand, because that drive existed
Yeah,
big time.
I never thought.
Does it now, though?
I don't think it does.
And again, you
Yeah.
know,
Why?
relationships are hard, though, aren't they?
They
Yeah.
are.
I
They
mean, husband and wife, I mean, anybody that says that's going to be a piece of cake,
Yeah.
wrong. Being a parent is hard.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
Like you alluded to, though. I don't want to go a difficult route
Mm-hmm.
because it does go against my bent to be selfish,
Right.
you know,
It's
to make it all about me.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's natural to try to look for the easy path.
Right.
Yeah.
And right now, the
Mhm.
easy paths are wide. There's
Yeah.
so many
Mm-hmm.
ways to not push yourself to do something difficult. There's so many
Right.
ways to not get yourself in a situation where you're going to get hurt by a girl breaking up with you. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
that phone that in the future sex
Absolutely.
robot is not going to say no.
Anything. It's not going to say no.
It's not going to
But look at the
It's not
bad
gonna have a headache.
consequences of that, too. China. Okay. China's one
That's a
child
disappointment.
policy
There it is. Yeah.
that recently ended.
Right.
I mean, you've got tons of men in that country that there's not enough women to pick
No.
from
I think it's
anymore.
like 1 to 10.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean,
It's that significant.
By 2100, they're going to be down like 200 million people.
so
Talk
whatever
about a sausage
testosterone
party.
you have, you've got to find a way to utilize that
Yeah.
somehow. What are you going to do?
Mhm.
I mean, I think you're going to see a lot of aggression,
Oh, yeah.
really a lot more instability in our
Yeah.
world simply because,
It's all pent up.
yeah.
There's going to be a
That's
lot
it.
of Timothy McVeighs in the world.
Mhm.
Well, we discussed that last week.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I probably took it a little far.
Yeah.
But I mean,
They didn't get no
I
lady
think
love.
I think one woman could have changed that situation happening.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that in a kind of funny way. But legitimately.
That could
I
be.
think it could have changed the trajectory of how that went.
Yeah.
The dude was known to be
A loner.
not good with women.
Yeah.
We'll just say
Right.
that.
Mm-hmm.
So he channeled that into something that was not good. We'll just put it that way. I mean,
Yeah.
it was not a good thing. I think you got to get that out. You
Yeah.
can't just live with all that, you know?
Yeah.
I had this thought too. It's like the experience of having a child is daunting because like they're their own person.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not like a sandwich where you eat it and you're like, that wasn't good. I'm not gonna have that again.
Yeah.
Like having a child, it's like you don't know how great it is until it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like when you get the lies told to you like of how bad it is, you're obviously gonna be like, well, I'm not gonna have a life changing event if I'm not gonna like it.
Yeah.
Well, and when I was going to have a kid, you know, my wife was pregnant. Everybody comes up and they say the most negative thing most of the time.
Mhm.
Nobody says like, man, it's great.
Yeah.
Everybody, well,
I can't sleep.
guess
Yeah.
what? You're not going to sleep for the next 18 years now.
I mean,
And, you know,
how many times did you hear, yeah, go take a nap because you're not going to get another
dude,
one?
I heard it, if I had a nickel, you know?
Yeah.
But nobody ever gives you the, like, this is fantastic
Yeah.
conversation.
Like this is you all over
And
again.
Look,
Like,
I understand it's tongue in cheek. Everybody's just trying to, you know,
Yuck
be
it up.
funny and
Yeah.
yuck it up. But even that, I think, can push somebody who's a little bit already to the bent of like, nah, I'm not going to do it.
Mhm.
I think that conversation can push people away from it because it's like, well, I can't sleep as late as I want to now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the most basic, simplest form of that conversation. But even something like that, I think, can push somebody
Yeah,
away from
I
having
agree.
that.
Yeah. I specifically remember, and this was 18 years ago, the elevator ride in the hospital. The first time I was alone after becoming a father,
Yeah.
dude, the pride
Mhm.
and the excitement that I remember
Yeah,
specifically feeling that I've never had again.
the
and
gears
I'll-
changed.
Yeah, I was a different person
Mhm.
on that elevator ride. You know, you
Yeah.
get it was like, you know, the excitement of the birth, and there's all kinds of people around, and you know, it was, you know, it's just a wild
Yeah.
whirlwind of a ride. And then I remember getting onto the elevator, hitting the door, and the door shut, and I was like, dude, this is stinking awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Got down
You, you like this can't be about me anymore.
Yeah.
And that's
Right.
okay.
And the floor, it went down 2 floors, and it stopped for somebody else to get on, and this dude got on. I still remember what the guy looked like. This is weird. I didn't expect to get emotional today.
Unlocking that memory
I
there.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, core memory hit. But I remember it was just like so proudful and happy, and having that feeling that I just like I had to tell this guy. I was like, hey, dude, I just had a baby, man. It's like
Yeah.
I didn't know this guy.
Yep.
Never seen him again in my life, but I was just so excited from it.
Yeah.
And it was stinking awesome.
But
And nobody talks
and
about
we're
that.
robbing so many people of that moment.
Mhm.
Of just by this lie over here of, well, it's going to get warmer if you don't. If you do, it's going to get too hot,
Yeah.
and then nobody's going to be able to live. It's bullcrap.
Yeah.
Don't fall for this
No.
junk, people.
No.
Yeah. Because instead of pouring their life into a child that they helped create, they're going to be pouring it into these other activities that aren't fruitful.
Themselves
Yeah.
is what they're going to be pouring
Yeah.
into.
And life lived for yourself it's just stagnant.
It
Mhm.
is.
Mhm.
And we'll see that played out in real life with stagnant innovation.
Mhm.
The technology that we're experiencing now, the explosion, I'm really concerned that that's going to drop off
Yeah.
just because there's fewer people.
Yeah.
But also on a personal level, we stagnate too without family.
Mhm.
Sure.
Innovation
know.
in our family.
Exactly. It like you said, it changes us
Yeah.
Yeah.
in ways that we never imagined when you have a kid. I mean, you get confronted with, oh, I need to step up here,
Oh, yeah.
or I need to be, hey, more of a man.
Mhm.
I need to
Sure.
go to work, etc. I've got people to care for, and that's good for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And
good
it's
for us.
natural. It's
Mhm.
like it's part of God's design. You know what I mean? Like it's something that He just put into our system, just trigger and be like, all right, this remember when I said it's time to put away childish things?
Mhm.
This is it.
Yeah.
Go be a man.
Well, and I think this goes into the, I mean, if you just want to go straight up evil and, wow, I'm about to really do it.
Mhm.
We joked, they, them energy a little bit. But why would that lie be pushed? Yet again, you can't have babies if you're doing this.
No.
You can't, I mean, I could take it a step further and really get us cut off of YouTube, and I won't. But I mean, the transgender movement and all of this lie that's been pushed, I think it plays into this conversation just as much. I mean, we're teaching people about this completely.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, well, no, you can you can have all the genders you want and just go lop it off.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're a woman today.
Yep.
It's the same conversation right there.
Yeah.
And is there a more selfish thing that you can do? No.
Yeah.
I don't think that you can be more selfish than, no, I'm something else.
Yeah.
And you have to recognize that I'm something else. And if you don't recognize that I'm something else, then you're out.
And
You're the problem.
You're the problem.
In none of those situations are you procreating or
No,
being,
exactly.
being fruitful.
Yeah. And that's
it's almost the opposite
yeah,
of
that's
be
kinda where
fruitful
I'm-
and multiply.
yeah. No, you are now multiple people. You're they.
Yeah. You're your own multiple.
You
people.
multiplied yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's 1 times 1? 1.
Well, you kind of did multiply yourself at that point,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because you're she, they, them,
Mm-hmm.
dumb crap.
Kind of wish we had some numbers on the rise in that population.
Does it not feel like that boomed in like the last 10 years?
It has.
Mhm.
I wish I knew.
I would say,
There are graphs. I've seen them, and it's
Like
crazy.
2018, 2019, like it felt like it just went blah. And then COVID hit, and then it's like, oh no, I've got
Mental
time
illness everywhere.
Yeah, and I do think mental illness did boom during that time frame.
Yeah.
And the more it's promoted, though, the more people that come out and say that they are.
Yeah,
And it just
exactly.
kind of feeds on itself. Yeah.
Man, we're just sprinkling so many show topics into one show topic right
I told
now.
you, man. This one.
We're going to be able to expand for a year
Yeah.
off of just this conversation.
Yeah, we still got a long way to go. I
Yeah.
want to keep rolling because we're doing good, but we can probably split this into 2 episodes.
I think we will. Yeah, we'll probably split this into 2.
But yeah, because there's so many aspects, so many causal factors to population decline.
Mm-hmm. So many players in the game.
So many players, and I still don't know the deciding factor. You know what I mean? Like, is it? I heard one interview with a guy. I can't remember where he was from or who he was representing, but he said he didn't think that it was more that there was somebody behind the scenes pulling the strings. His thought was this is just a natural flow
Correction.
and that well, I would put it as a correction, but his thought was just it was a natural flow of how society is
Mhm.
evolving.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I don't like the word correction.
Mhm.
I don't like correction because that would say that
We're
there needed to
incorrect.
be something to be corrected.
Well,
In
the
the
rate
least
of-
mind, it is.
the rate of population has never decreased as much as it has currently, except one other time. And then you can find a specific reason. The bubonic plague
Uh-huh.
in Europe back in
Right.
the 1300s. I mean, at least you could trace it to,
Something.
this is why. But this is not precedented.
All right,
Yeah.
I'm
What's
going.
happening?
I'm going full bent.
Uh-huh.
I'm going there.
Are you the science?
There you go.
I knew it was coming.
Did that?
Golly, you guys are the same people.
He tossed him a COVID softball. What? He just hit it into left field.
Yeah. I mean, is that where?
This was not pre-planned.
It really
On
was.
the ride over here.
Yeah,
But
we
it's an
weren't-
easy pitch, though.
It is. Yeah.
Hey, you get me on that.
Like how Fauci threw that ball.
Right at first
I
base.
hope it was better than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a better toss than that for sure. But we need to put that in the episode too. Go ahead and mark that in there.
Okay.
Anyway,
Fauci pitch.
Yeah, Fauci pitch needs to be.
Fauci
It's about
Golly, that's how a robot throws a ball.
no. A
Ooh.
robot would be better than that.
What about a lizard? Does a lizard throw that way?
I don't know if they've got enough joints to actually throw it the right way. So it could be. He could be a lizard.
It
But,
says weak muscle
um,
tone from Cheerios.
I mean, he's nothing but Kellogg's.
Nothing
man.
but Kellogg's.
Yeah, and his T is low for
Yeah.
sure. But so now that we know that this was an accidental slip from the Wuhan, virology lab.
You can say that now. You couldn't 3 years ago.
No, you couldn't. We were talking to Let's Get to the Bottom of that, and they said they got strikes on their
yeah.
YouTube for even bringing up COVID.
Yeah, they got pulled down.
We can have that conversation freely now, which is really nice.
Yep.
But it's been proven that it was a accidental out of the Wuhan
Mm-hmm.
lab. Was it an accidental? Does this play into that population control a little bit? And then it just really wasn't as good as they thought it was going to be?
You think that's why they're still researching stuff like this that they probably shouldn't be?
Yeah.
mRNA vaccines, maybe.
Well, I think the vaccine, which we've already discussed, that Bill Gates said,
yep.
if we do really well, we can decrease the population by 15%. Look at what this vaccine has done to our population. I mean, half of them's dying from heart problems.
Mm-hmm.
The other half, they're not fertile anymore.
No.
I mean, that vaccine has completely just flipped our DNA in general on its head. And people are going to get mad at that too. I'm just pissing everybody off this week, but it just is what it is.
Hey, it's getting released though. We're
All of
finding
these
out
things
now that you're not speaking lies anymore.
Yeah. Just so everybody
That's gonna be an
knows,
episode by
I've been-
itself right there.
Yeah. I've been saying this for 5 years at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if this is the only other time that it happened was during the bubonic plague, are they trying to recreate that
Yeah.
with COVID?
Well, it raises the question for me then, why do you want that?
Right.
Why would you want to reduce the population that significantly? Because I've seen in more than one source now, repeatedly, the optimal population for the world would be somewhere around 1.5 billion people.
Yeah.
That would be the most sustainable. That's a lot of folks that
That is a
need
lot
to
of
be
people.
eliminated.
There'd
For
be
sure.
around 6 billion people
Mhm.
needed to die
Yeah.
at that point.
Sure.
So you're talking a genocide. If you were to do that all in one, let's just say one swoop,
Mhm.
that's all of humanity just completely
Mhm.
eradicated pretty much.
Yeah.
Now, nobody wants to believe that, okay,
Sure.
that's what's behind this, but sure makes you wonder.
So I did come across some stuff in my research that lended to that idea that
Mhm.
somebody might be wanting to do this. So you go into Google search and you type in Malthusianism and population control.
We're going to get a Malthusian counter on
Yeah.
this video.
Yeah.
See how many times
Said it
I
again.
say it.
You
Yep.
said it again.
Yep.
I've said it right every time too.
You have.
Hey.
You stumbled a
I'm
little
proud of
bit there, but
myself.
I didn't.
That one I did?
Yeah, you did a
Dang it.
little.
Yeah, your
Right.
tongue got in the way.
Fat tongue.
It happens every episode, but so there's not a lot of long form content on that subject in particular.
Wonder why.
But there, so here I'm fixing to throw one at you. The few episodes that are recorded lectures in Ivy League colleges.
Interesting.
I found one from Yale. Found one from UC Berkeley. There was another one from another college. I can't remember, but it was an hour and a half long lecture at a college.
Yeah.
So that makes me wonder, or is this idea being pushed, just planting those little seeds and nuggets that we need to control and eliminate parts of society? Is that getting put out to the future elites?
Well,
You know what I mean?
I think eugenics was this push. I think that's where that push of, depopulation came in.
Mm-hmm.
And who were the people that were pushing that topic?
Yep.
It was Henry Ford's
Henry
of the
Ford
world.
and Rothschilds and
Yeah, it was the elites of the time that were like, "Oh yes, this is very important. We've got to really do this, and it's for the good of humanity."
Yeah. I'm writing it down. We need to do that episode. I think it's time.
We're gonna have to let the humor go by the wayside a little bit on that, but I think that does need to happen because it's. If you look at that time frame, it's everybody that was rich and powerful that was pushing that conversation.
Yeah, and we stayed away from it because it's a mostly racist ideology.
Yeah, it is.
And we was like, man, we don't want to,
Well,
take
we're not going
everybody
to
out.
agree with any of it.
Yeah,
We're not going to agree with it, so we can have that conversation.
but yeah, we'll say it's funny how God ties all this stuff together.
Isn't it
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you really research it and really look through it, then it kind of brings to light a lot of darkness and a lot of evil.
Well,
Because if you think about, like, we've had this whole conversation for the past hour and 17 minutes, how many dots have we connected here?
that's where I was going. Yeah.
And it's so many dots that seem innocent. You know what I mean? Climate change. I just want my rivers to be clean. I don't want to flood the world. Abortion. I just don't want to bring a baby into a rough world when I can't afford it.
Mhm.
Food. Like, we've got to feed the masses, so we have to put in the chemicals and use glyphosates in the fields and
Right.
all that in itself sounds innocent. But when you tie it all together and you see the overarching side effects that are hurting society in a way that's not biblical, it really exposes the darkness.
And we haven't even touched all the dots. The dots, there's so many larger dots that
Social engineering,
Yeah.
using your taxes is a way of doing that.
Mhm.
Man, I've got a whole trove of that. I didn't study the AI part,
Yeah.
but I did that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've got notes on that for sure.
Well, I mean, it's pretty blatant. We're being socially engineered. I
Mhm.
mean, if you look just that far
Mhm.
in front of your face, we're being socially engineered
Right.
to do
Yeah.
all of these things.
Mhm.
And that's why they're
Right.
using the words that sound nicer.
Nice.
These
Yeah.
sound nice.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
if you just come out and said, we need to kill 6 billion people, nobody's going to jump on board with that.
Right.
But if you come out and say, well, this is why we need to do this, it's to help you, it's to let you plan,
Yeah.
it's so your life can be not as hot.
Yeah.
So Florida isn't flooded. So, I mean, so we can feed more people, so we can do all of these things.
Don't you want to have a well-funded 401k before you start having
Yeah.
babies? You know?
Well, Social Security is going to run out if we have more kids, and you know, it's all of those things.
But actually, it's the other way around.
Yeah, no, I know, but that's
Yeah.
the arguments
Yeah.
they would use.
Please,
Oh,
y'all
yeah.
have some more children. I'm not far from retirement, so please. Yeah.
you need
Yeah.
people pumping into that
That's
fund.
right.
It's yeah. Me and Connor, we have no hope.
Yeah.
We're not getting Social Security, bud. I'm
No,
sorry.
no.
It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. That's rough.
I don't know.
We'll wrap it up.
Got to.
Yeah.
We're
Don't
about
wrap
to
it
get,
up.
We're about
You
to
gotta
get,
have kids.
That's don't wrap it.
Stop.
It's a honey of an oak.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't think we're sending those to Uganda anymore. So
Yeah.
maybe
I'm
we're
gonna
in a better spot.
have to sit in the woods after this one.
Yeah, just think.
Yeah.
Don't
Yes.
sit in the woods today. You might get taken
Yeah, that's
out by
true. Might get a
Bottom
tree in my
line.
head.
Don't eat Cheerios. Have a steak. Spend time with your spouse.
That's right.
That's
There it
right.
is. Boom. Mic drop moment right there.
Mic drop right there.
Have them babies. Don't get a sex robot.
Yep.
And if
They're
a young,
expensive anyway.
if a young man or woman's listening to this, don't fall into this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't fall into the trap.
Go use what desire you have left.
Yeah.
Go find a mate.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Follow that natural urge. For Stephen, Connor, Joey, and Marty, thanks for coming in. I really
Great
appreciate
guest.
it.
Stay here. Enjoyed it.
Thanks for listening.